The content of this podcast is provided for general informational purposes only and is not intended as, nor should it be considered a substitute for professional medical advice.
Sweaty and pissed. Menopause makes me sweaty and pissed.
Hello, Sweaty and Pissed listeners. This is Karen Nickel, nurse practitioner in for Sweaty and Pissed, Menopause, and more. And I have here with me today my son, Forrest Wenzel.
Hello, here I am.
Yeah.
Today we're going to tackle some questions from the Facebook. Actually, the first one here is not really a question, but a nice comment from Charlene, who wrote, "Ladies, just learned today Leanne is stepping away from the podcasts. So sorry to hear that, but totally understand. Leanne, you always brought an element of fun to the podcast and kept Karen's much-needed medical information from becoming too clinical. In addition, you always said and asked the things your listeners would have if they could." She says she wants to make sure Karen is going to continue doing the podcast, which I think she is planning on doing. And she says she feels that you were always an important patient advocate, providing information that she can't receive anywhere else. And she says she's sorry to see the team split up, but wishes you both the best and hopes to see Leanne again in person someday. And thank you, Karen, for your knowledge and willingness to share. So that was a really nice.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice. Well, and we will be continuing the podcast on a monthly basis, and to give you some more medical information and hopefully some entertainment as well. And we'll probably have some guests on with us, and then we're going to work on a spin-off podcast that will be equally informative and entertaining, right, Forrest?
Hopefully, yeah. That's the plan.
That's the plan. So we have some listener questions today that I thought I could answer for you all, and Forrest is going to help me out with this.
Yeah, the first one is from Paula, who asks, "What do you recommend for hormonal headaches?"
Okay, so Paula, this sort of depends on how old you are. If you're still having periods, there are a lot of pieces of information I don't have, but what I use for hormonal headaches is to add progesterone, and that just helps with that estrogen dominance, which is the biggest trigger for hormonal headaches is high estrogen and low progesterone. So one option is adding progesterone to your regimen, your hormone regimen, and sometimes when I have people who are already on progesterone and they have breakthrough headaches, I actually have them dose the progesterone in a bolus fashion. So I have them take some every 20 minutes, up to an hour to help relieve the headache. And the other thing you can do without having to have a progesterone prescription is to take something to lower your estrogen or help clear some estrogen from your body. And we've talked about this on previous podcasts, but a couple of things that really do that well are milk thistle caps. And I usually have people take 600 milligrams a day, or DIM, D-I-M, diindole methylene. And I usually dose that at 100 milligrams twice a day. And that just helps clear extra estrogen from your body, since estrogen tends to be the big trigger for a hormonal headache. So if you tend to have those kind of headaches right before your period, you could even just start dosing DIM or milk thistle on the last half of your cycle, the 2 weeks before your period. And that will often help quite a bit. So I hope that helps you. And also, if you want to check out the website and the podcast the blog, I get all my medium mixed up. The blog that has the information about estrogen dominance, it talks about a lot of other things you can do to help with progesterone and estrogen balance, which will help with your hormonal headaches.
The next question is from Jill, who has a question about hormone tests. Which is more accurate, blood or spit tests?
So blood and saliva testing tell us two completely different things. When you take a blood test for your hormones, you are measuring circulating hormone levels. So you're measuring the amount of hormones that are in your blood traveling through your body. So they're basically in transit. They're heading toward the tissue. So when we measure hormones in the blood, it's like measuring how many people are on a bus. We don't know how we can measure how many people are on the bus, but we don't know when they get off the bus, how they get off the bus, how long they're off the bus. So it just gives us information on what's being transported. And this can be helpful, especially when you take oral hormone replacement, because after the first pass in the liver, it goes into the bloodstream. And after you take it orally, it goes into the bloodstream and then a first pass through the liver. And so when we measure hormones in the blood, it can be fairly accurate when you're taking oral hormones. When you're using topical hormones, that is basically going into your tissue first, and then some of it will end up in your bloodstream. So measuring it in the bloodstream is not super accurate and helpful. So doing saliva testing, especially when you're on topical forms of hormones, gives us a much better idea of what's happening at the tissue level. So we know how many people are off the bus, essentially. So we know what's in the tissue versus just what's traveling through the blood. So if you want to get an accurate measure of that piece of information, the saliva test is your best bet. Oh, and I wanted to say too, Forrest, a couple of places where you can get hormone testing through saliva. And that one of them is ZRT Labs, and that website is zrtlab.com. And the other company I've used is Diagnostics. That's DIAGNOSTECHS, diagnostics.com.
And that one's also a pun, so it has that going for it as well.
So ZRT or Diagnostics, they're both good companies for saliva testing. And they have both female hormone testing and adrenal testing. And with adrenal testing, cortisol measurements are most accurate in saliva. So if you want to get the most accurate measurement of your cortisol levels, which is an adrenal hormone, saliva testing is also your best bet.
So the next question is from Carrie, who has a COVID-related question. She's wondering if a hot flash looks like elevated temperature when with a forehead sensor or one of the walkthrough sensors. If you're going in somewhere, they're taking your temperature and you're having a hot flash, is it going to look like you have a fever? Is her question.
Yeah, it's a really good question. And it is a little bit different since we're using these skin sensors. When you have a hot flash, your body core temperature does not go up. Your skin temperature can go up, so that theoretically could cause a problem with some of these infrared skin sensors for temperature taking. But the areas where the skin temperature goes up the most are this chest area, especially around the sternum and in the neck. So the forehead doesn't dispense as much heat, the forehead skin, as the skin over the sternum and the neck. So typically that will not be a problem. And even when you're sweating, it doesn't tend to cause a problem. So I wouldn't worry about that. I don't think you're going to get stopped at an airport because of a temperature. During a hot flash, temperature taking during a hot flash, because honestly, what they're concerned about is a temperature of 100.4 or more. And even if your temperature's up a little bit during a hot flash, it's not going to be 100.4 or more. So I wouldn't worry about that when traveling or when going to stores or medical offices, dentist offices. Typically, that will not be a problem.
The next question is from Bethany, who says, I listen while I'm out walking, and because I'm over 50, I can't for the life of me retain the name of the vitamin company where you take the quiz and get the personalized packets of vitamins. Could you repeat that info for the memory challenged?
Yes, and that company is called Care Of, and it's actually spelled care/of. And that company can be found at the website takecareof.com. And you take a little quiz, and they put together a nutritional package for you to meet your needs based on the quiz that you've taken. So it's a really neat system, and there are other websites that can give you customized care based on a easy, quick quiz. And one of those companies is called Function of Beauty. First, you take this quick quiz, and you tell them a little bit about your hair type. Is it straight? Is it wavy, curly, coily? And your hair goals, such as lengthening, volumizing, oil control. And honestly, we've all got goals, I hope, for 2021, especially after our 2020 year. And that could include school, career, diet, exercise, just being more healthy, getting more sleep, getting more water. But have you thought about changing your hair goals and getting better hair and liking the products that you use, for instance? So here's how you can get started. You just get on their website and take a quick quiz. And next you choose the color or fragrance or both. And you can also go fragrance or dye-free. Plus, subscribers get access to more exclusive colors and scents. Then Function's team determines the perfect blend of ingredients, bottles of the formula, and delivers it to you along with fun, seasonal stickers and all the instructions you need. This is one of the things I really love. Every ingredient Function of Beauty uses is vegan and cruelty-free, and they never use sulfates or parabens. They also do not have mineral oil. And I know on previous podcasts, I've spoken many times about avoiding mineral oil in topical products because they act like estrogen in your body. So they don't contain mineral oil either, which is terrific. So Function of Beauty offers a completely personalized formula for your body and skincare, so you can customize your beauty routine from hair to toe. Never buy off the shelf just to be disappointed ever again. Go to functionofbeauty.com/sweaty to take your quiz and save 20% on your first order. That applies to their full range of customized hair, skin, and body products. Go to functionofbeauty.com/sweaty to let them know you heard about it from our show and to get 20% off your order. functionofbeauty.com/sweaty.
Definitely do it. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, it is. It is. Wonderful product.
So speaking of our favorite products, Janet has a question that is, do you have a favorite protein powder or ready-made shake?
All right. Well, first of all, I would say on the protein powders, I tend to recommend pea protein, PEA protein. Since some people have reactions to whey, I just think it's a cleaner product, fewer reactivity problems. So there are a couple proteins, pea proteins that I like because that's all that's in them is pea protein. So you're not going to get flavors out of them. So you're going to have to put it in your smoothie where you're creating your own flavor. So it does not add flavor, but you know that's all you're getting in it. So one brand I like is Anthony's Premium Pea Protein. And this is a high quality protein powder that features just one simple ingredient, vegetable pea protein isolate. In addition to being made without any additives, fillers, or preservatives, Anthony's Premium Pea Protein is unflavored, unsweetened, and it's vegan. Additionally, it's verified gluten-free, making it a good choice for those with celiac disease or a sensitivity to gluten. The company also tests each batch for quality, which is nice. Another one is Naked Pea Premium Pea Protein Powder. That's not easy to say, really.
No.
So I'll just say it again. Naked Pea Premium Pea Protein Powder. This unflavored variety from Naked Pea is made with just one ingredient and sourced exclusively from farms in the United States and Canada, so you know where the product's coming from. It's also certified vegan and gluten-free, which makes it a good option for those with certain dietary restrictions or food allergies. It is also certified by Informed Sport to ensure that it's free of impurities and banned substances for athletes. So if you're an athlete and you want to add protein to your regimen, this is a really good option for you. So I hope that helps guide you a little bit.
Yeah. And I think we've got time for one more question, maybe.
Sweet.
And
perfect.
Let's hear from Laura, who asks, after weaning off Ambien for 21 years of use, she's sleeping about 5 to 6 hours a night, using 5 milligrams of melatonin, 250 milligrams of Tylenol PM, and 400 milligrams of magnesium. Do you see a problem using the Tylenol PM long term? She tries weaning off it from time to time, but still struggles to sleep.
Okay. And Lori, first of all, I just want to say to you, congratulations for getting off Ambien, which is generic Zolpidem, and obviously you've tried Trazodone as well in the past and did it for 21 years. So congrats to you for getting off those medications after 21 years of use. I know that's not easy, and you obviously were determined and did a very good job. So congrats to you. In terms of the Tylenol PM, so Tylenol PM is Tylenol, which is acetaminophen, and diphenhydramine, which is Benadryl branded. So I don't know how old you are, Lori, but the issue with diphenhydramine long term is in older people, and I'm talking in later generations when you're in your 70s and 80s, diphenhydramine can cause some mental status changes in our elderly people. So sometimes when people are taking a diphenhydramine every night, they can actually have start getting hallucinations and dementia. It's less common, far less common in younger people. But I'm just looking at the long-term picture here. So that is the diphenhydramine is something that down the road you would want to find some kind of replacement to help you with sleeping. In terms of your supplements that you're taking, the melatonin is good, the magnesium is good. One thing I would say about melatonin is by itself, sometimes it just doesn't work as effectively as we would like it to. So sometimes I will recommend something like Power to Sleep PM, which is a over-the-counter supplement that contains a combination of natural supplements that will help you sleep. So it contains melatonin and valerian root and L-theanine and GABA, things like that. That's a whole combination of supplements so that you have a lot of different mechanisms helping you to sleep. So you may want to try something like that gives you a little more firepower in terms of helping you fall asleep and staying asleep. And if I don't recall exactly how much melatonin is in that product, but it's likely you could take your additional melatonin with the Power to Sleep PM if you needed to do that. But I probably would try that, and I would look to down the road see how well you can do getting off the Tylenol PM and just use the natural supplements to help you sleep. But again, congrats to you for getting off those sleep aids after such long-term use. Good for you. These have been good questions, haven't they, Forrest?
Really good questions.
Really good. We have great listeners.
We do.
Yeah, we do.
We're very, very lucky.
Indeed. And for those of you who haven't heard our last podcast, Leanne has stepped away from podcast Sweaty and Pissed, and we're going to miss her, but she's got lots going on, so we totally understand why she made that decision.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And as I said earlier, Forrest and I will be working on another podcast.
Yeah, we've got some exciting things lined up, hopefully.
Yes, we do. And so we'll be letting you know about that in future Sweaty and Piss podcasts so that you can follow us to the next venture.
Yeah.
And we want to thank Function of Beauty for sponsoring today's episode. And just remember to go to functionofbeauty.com/sweaty. Thank you so much for listening today. We hope you stay well, stay safe, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Sweaty and pissed.